Today I am excited to share a comparison between The Good and the Beautiful Level 1, their newest updated version, and Abeka's Level 1, Grade 1 of their language arts. So they have language and letters and sounds. I do want to get right into the video, but I do want to say that I get this asked a lot because I have on my channel a lot of comparisons between Abeka and The Good and the Beautiful, because that's, especially during our younger elementary years, that is what we have primarily used for math and language arts. And so people ask me this, that's like number one question over and over, what would you recommend? And the answer to that is I can't tell you. I cannot tell you which one is going to be best for your child. I have a one who really loves The Good and the Beautiful. I had others who did really great with Abeka. I had another one who was like, I could go either way. It doesn't really matter, but probably did better with Abeka. So it really it's personal preference on how you want to approach it, and personal preference on each of your children. So I would say just go with your gut, do your research, check out videos, look at samples. It's so individualized and so personal that you can't really get what someone else used and just assume it's gonna work for you. Or assume that if it didn't work for them, that it can't work for you. So I am just going to do a flip through, like I said, and kind of show what the layout is so that you can get an idea, and maybe neither of these will work for you, and that's okay too. So we're going to get started right into the video. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see exactly what we're looking at. All right, so we're going to start with Abeka. Let me grab all of my stuff here so you can see there's quite a bit. This is everything I have, and there's more you can choose from. If you are interested truly in Abeka, you think it might work for you, I have several videos from like a year or two ago, and I go through and explained what exactly we used. I did a lesson strictly with just using Abeka, and so I will link that below so that you can see, because it's pretty much the same. I would have used it the same way. You can check that out, but right now I'm just going to show exactly what I have. So we have the basic phonics charts, and this is going to include the main phonics sounds. So it's going to be a bunch of these that you go through every day. You can go along with that is these basic phonics flashcards. It's going to be the same exact special sounds as that you saw just in here, but it's going to just be one sound per sheet. So you can see there's a picture, what the sound is, what CK says as in duck, and then on the back side here is words to practice. And so that we still use these. I still go over these and still use these as our phonics, just because I already had them, and so and they work really well, and it's very comprehensive. Like there's so many special sounds to use in here. There's 132. So it's very comprehensive. You don't have to completely do them all in first grade. You can break it up between kindergarten, first, second grade, and work that way. And so we won't get through all of them this year, I don't think, but that is the special sounds, and that again is for teaching phonics. Then you have the readers. There's more of these. This goes all the way up to I. So I think there's like 10 of these readers. This is all I grabbed from my shelf. We have them all, but we've worked our way through. We're about halfway finished, and we have a few more. So this is kind of what the readers are going to be looking like, what they will be reading. And then by the end of the year, if you make it all the way to the very, very, very end, this is kind of what it's going to look like. So Abeka, if you stick with the program and it does work, is going to produce a very, very strong reader. They're just known for that, for their spelling or their language arts in the younger elementary program. Then you have the spelling. And again, this is optional. You don't have to do this if this seems like a lot. You can absolutely just do what you think would work best for you. You know, what I like to say, like kind of what piques my interest when I'm looking at these videos. I like to say, all right, this looks good. No, I wouldn't want to use that. And so you don't have to feel like you have to use it all. So the spelling is going to be very bright. It is going to start off list 1, just short vowel sounds. There's going to be a little activity that they can do, 1 per day. So that's what all we do is like Monday we would say them, spell them, say them, and then do 1 per day, 1 activity a day. So here's towards the end of the year what they're going to be doing. It's 32 lists. So this is what the end of the year is going to look like. And they have it both in print and manuscript in cursive, so that if your child is doing cursive, they can, it shows an example of how to do it. And again, just going to be one little, you know, a few different exercises, 4 or 5 exercises, and then that's it. It's just 2 pages worth of exercises, so you can break that up. And then there's going to be some poetry here. Okay, so feel free to use it or not. We had the best of intentions, but honestly never really used it. And then here it says, this is their homework. How I did this for my other daughter is she would do half the list on one day. She would write half the list on one day just for some practice and write half the list another day. I might do that with my daughter this year. We just recently started incorporating this again. We took quite a long break, and so I might have her do that just so she has practice writing the words and not just saying them out loud. So that is one way you can use it, but you don't have to use this homework section. So that is the spelling. And then you have the letters and sounds and the language. And you're like, well, do I need both? I would say yes, because this is going to be focusing just on the phonics. This is grammar, creative writing, and reading comprehension. Now, don't let that kind of intimidate you. It's not like a whole bunch of creative writing, a whole bunch of reading comprehension. It's basic. It's grade appropriate by 1st grade. So it's not like they're going to be writing, you know, paragraphs and paragraphs. So this is going to, like I said, really focus on the phonics and the special sounds. So the special sounds are like sk and scat, sk and skate. So a lot of times they're going to have them circling the special sounds, marking the vowels, and the reason they have them do that, it just gets their eye used to kind of discerning and discriminating, like, okay, SC says sk as in scope, and then that's not scape, you know, that you would have to cross or mark the O as long and mark the E as silent, and they show you how to do that. You're not on your own. You're not trying to like figure it out yourself. They give you examples of how to do that. It's intended to be 1 page per day. So not a front and a back, just 1 page. So this would be 1 day's worth of work. And then you would go into here and do 1 day's worth of work. So it is 2 pages a day, but it's 2 different books. And if your child would be overwhelmed by this, you can always have them tear it out and just say, here, okay, here's your page, do this one today. And then here's the front of this page and do this one today. So this is going to be the majority of what it's going to be looking like. It's really, like I said, going to be focusing mostly on the phonics aspect of it. And again, I'm not going to do like a whole flip through because I've done a review on this whole curriculum. So you can get just a brief idea here. And then same for language. It's going to add, this is going to be like filling in the blanks, like how would you best finish this sentence? And Abeka, I personally prefer this, but again, it's totally personal preference. They're not going to introduce parts of speech, so there's no nouns, there's no subjects, there's no verbs, there's no nothing. It's literally just crafting a sentence. So Greg has a fine boat, so make sure that your sentence starts with a capital letter and ends with a period, and literally just taking this year to learn to read. That is what they focus on, and that's the reason I kind of really enjoy it. So as you can see, this is what it's going to look like. Dividing words into syllables, and they will touch on prefixes and suffixes. So a suffix is words letters at the end of a word to make a new word. So like ing, ed, er, So track becomes tracking, so you can see that. But again, as far as grammar goes, they're not introducing that. So this again is more sentence structure and things like that. And this creative writing, this is kind of as much as it is. So again, it's not like a whole bunch, write a sentence and then draw a picture. So this is even towards the end. So it's not going to be way, way overwhelming. So they do have a handwriting program for this as well, and they are going to have, with that handwriting is more of like more writing, more instructional writing. But I had found that the writing in this book was plenty enough. Like her making sentences, that was way plenty. She didn't need to add, my daughter did not need to add that, but maybe your child really loves to make sentences, and so the writing portion would be a great aspect. Again, I have that in my other videos, so if you want to check that out, I'll show more examples and details of like what that includes. Now for the Good and the Beautiful. So this is an all-in-one course book, which I know a lot of people prefer and like. So it's phonics, writing, reading, grammar and punctuation, spelling, literature, geography, and art. So it's going to cover a wide variety of subjects all in one. I wanted to say that Abeka, just for comparison, this is 170 lessons. This is like 120. It's about 120 exactly, I think. Yes. So this is meant to be done 4 days a week. Abeka is, you can do it in 4 days a week if you double up on lessons 1 day a week. But I think this is more traditional, supposed to be done 5 days a week. This comes with a reader as well, and it's called phonics booster cards or something like along those. I didn't get those because we already had readers, and I figured if it's, and my daughter likes them, so I'm like, well, we already have them. It's here. And then the phonics cards, I'm already okay with using these charts. Again, we already have them. But if you have nothing and are wanting to start completely fresh and you just want to use all the Good and the Beautiful, obviously the program works really well if you use it all together. We're using it just fine, adding our own readers and adding our own phonics curriculum, our own phonics charts, but just keep that in mind. And I will say, I did look at the readers. They are gentler than the Abeka readers, and at first, that might be like, oh, I'd rather go with the gentler readers. But honestly, I didn't think my daughter would be able to like keep up with this. And she actually is doing really well. She, her reading has come so far using these readers. She really has, picked up the pace a lot. So gentler doesn't always equal better. It's just, I'm just letting you know that that is what it is. So it might be good or it might not be. It might be something that you need to just something to consider. Anyway, all right, so here's the Unit 1 overview. These are the spelling words they will be looking at. These are the booster cards. So here is an example of what those booster cards are going to look like. It's going to be a combination of short sentences along with sight words and then phonics, teaching phonics principles. So they're going to spread that out over 3 sets of booster cards that the child can use for kindergarten, level 1, and level 2. And then these are the phonics principles taught, writing, grammar, other principles taught, if you need any extra items. So that will all be laid out. So let's give an example of what a lesson looks like. And I mentioned it's all in one. So you don't need a separate teacher's guide or anything like that. It's just all together. So this is work on reading booster cards, books, or games for 5 to 10 minutes. And then here, there's always the exercise that they do are always different. So today they're doing a zoo path. They have to start and read the words from start till the end. And then there's always an independent practice. So the independent practice for today would be studying this painting. If you see this word, like, so a stamp, do you find that in here? No, so you're not going to circle it. But a tree, you would find, so you would circle it. We got this book a little bit later on in the school year, so we skipped the beginning of these beginning exercises. But this is kind of what it's going to look like. Each day is going to be different. It's going to be like, so today they're working on AR, the R, and then there's letter tiles. So this letter tile is going to It's a little app. My daughter thinks it's so much fun. You have to put these letters together to make, and they always have the special sound. So the AR will be grouped together to work on their spelling. And I think that that's I think it's been really helpful. And then there's always an independent practice, and it's going to look a little bit different. The independent practice is usually going to incorporate something that they've learned in the lesson and then some review of something else. So this one, they had to figure out who made the birthday card or whatever. And then here they had to read these clues to figure out who did it. So as you can see, there's just a bunch, there's geography that they incorporate. As you know, there's art. That was what The Good and the Beautiful is known for, and they're known for having all of their teacher guides and everything all in one place. So yes, it makes it convenient and simple for the moms. It's colorful and fun for the kids. I will say some negatives that I've heard is that, you know, some kids just want straightforward to the point. They don't want to be looking at pictures. They're just like, teach me the thing and let's move on. So it really is going to depend on your child what's going to work best for them. So incorporating, you know, words with OU and OW, they both say ow and ow. And then they're going to be like, here's some landforms. So they're going to say, like, they learned found, down, loud, town. So those are the phonics principles that they've learned, but they're incorporating into geography. So they really tie it together. Sometimes the geography isn't tied in, it's just its own thing, but sometimes the geography is incorporated into the lesson. So I'm trying to look here if I can find it. They do work with homophones, 2, 2, and 2, 8 and 8, B and B. Like there's a bunch of homophones that they work with. This type of thing, I'm not super concerned with at this level, if she gets it or not. I know she will eventually get it. So if she gets it now, that's fine. And if she doesn't get it for a little bit, that's okay too. They work on capitalizing your first letter. There's an oral narration. So they say like, hey, instead of a butterfly flew, how can we make this sentence better and prettier and more, you know, with more vivid and having more imagination. And so they're working on that. There's so many aspects to this. So again, it jumps around a little bit, which could be good, keeps it different, but it could be like, maybe you need something that's more the same every day and kind of the same format every day. That's where maybe something like Abeka would work a little bit better for you. They did just recently learn about nouns, and they did proper nouns and improper nouns. They did just learn about verbs the other day, action and being verbs. So you're on lesson 58. You're about halfway through the book. This I personally don't love, and again, it's just my personal opinion. They introduced action verbs, but an action verb is something that you do, and then being verbs. And then like, okay, so here you have to kind of not only know what an action verb is, you have to know what a being verb is all at once. And I just feel like it could be a little bit confusing. So again, if my daughter does not have this mastered at the end of first grade, I truly don't care. My goal for her is reading, having a basic spelling, and really good phonics foundation. That is my personal goal. So just so you know, they do add grammar into this. And it's not heavy grammar, but it is in there. And so it just really depends on this doesn't make it or break it for me, even though I prefer not to focus on grammar right now. It just depends on what you're looking for. So again, I think you can get a really good picture of what this is looking like and how they incorporate geography. There's an app that you can do, and it is going to have like books on it, audio books, geography. And so it just changes up the lesson a little bit. I think it makes it a little more fun. And my daughter looks forward to that. But she would still like this regardless if there was an app or not. This just is right up her alley. So that is a good picture of The Good and the Beautiful. As you can see, there are some pretty big differences between the two. I think they're both great programs and they can work. I have my personal opinions on what I personally think is better and what I like better, but that doesn't mean that neither of them, that both of them aren't still stellar good quality. You'll still teach your child to read no matter what. I think it really just depends on the child and what they're looking for. What works for one of your kids might not work for the other. So that's okay if you have to renegotiate and come back to the drawing board after you've done successfully one program with one. If you have to do something different with another, that's okay too. Like, it's okay. They'll all get there. They'll all learn to read. It just takes a little bit of time, patience, and love and gentleness. A lot of all of those. And you'll get there eventually. We can do it. So thank you so much for watching. And I appreciate you being here so much. I really do. And if you'd like to subscribe, I would love to have you here. If you thought this video was helpful, click the like button and I would really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.